Hi, and welcome back to the garden. It is New Year's Eve. You know what we do on New Year's Eve? We garden. Come on, let's plant. Coal frames all tucked in. Oh, you didn't think I meant we were going to plant out here in the garden, did you? I just came out here to get some soil. We've got some potting to do. Down in here is the best stuff. Well, you're at my house. On New Year's Eve, it's going to be quite a shindig. Come on, let's plant. If you remember, what we're trying to do is we're going to try to grow some monster sweet potatoes. The way you start is you start now. As we've been curing most of the potatoes, they start growing slips on their own. There's really no rhyme nor reason on which one grows the fastest. On November 7th, we took this top off of a large sweet potato. See, we're going to go ahead and be able to start new slips off of this. This is already starting to put on slips. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off a pretty decent little chunk here. And we're going to go ahead and make slips out of this. Now, an old water dish works really good. This is all I do. I'm just going to set it in there. I believe it was November 11th we took off of the sweet potato pie potato. We also took this one off of one of the sweet potato pie potatoes. They've been sitting in the same kind of water, in the same kind of light. We need to get some of these slips in dirt today. And while we're at it, we're going to put the horseradish tops back in soil. They're growing nicely. We're going to have them ready for spring. It's already growing. Remember, the longer the horseradish is in the ground, the bigger the roots get. So come on, let's plant. It's amazing how fast the vines start growing once they take off. And honestly, we may want to cut this in half and reroot part of this, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to get it established first. All right, gently remove your... And this is all we're going to do. We'll gently remove the piece out of there. Let's do the big one first. Just break it off. Just break it off, and the roots will be right there. Take off any yellow leaves. Take your container. That soil's warmed up nicely. Feed the roots down in there gently. Those roots are going to make the potatoes. Just snug that down. Add just a little more soil. As we saw in the garden, this entire stem will root. And the depth you plant is based off of the container that you have. Okay, one of these has a lot of roots. Let's go ahead and do this one next. They're on there kind of firm, so you just peel that off. If you let this go too much longer, you'll really damage the roots trying to untangle them. Now the ones that have quite a few roots like this, now, they have quite a few roots like this. Get a little soil down in the bottom. And then add some around it. Trying to tuck it in is going to hurt it a little bit. Some soil down in there. Worm that down in. I was able to get this one to stand up, and and this other one is leaning over. Either way is fine. Alright. Okay, we'll take this one. Firm but gentle, pop it off. This one doesn't have any roots, so we're going to go ahead and leave that in there, and this will continue to produce slips. Let's put it right down in there. Snug it down. We'll add some more soil. And there we are, well on our way to making giant sweet potatoes. You can do this too. Horseradish. I'm going to be a little aggressive pulling these apart. There's a small one. Got actually a couple here. Now the planting, similar to everything. You use a small hole, backfill with your compost or your potting soil, whatever you're using, tap it down and there you go. Now these are together. I'm going to be very aggressive here. I brought the shears out. I'm just going to cut this in half. I'll do without cutting myself. Right in half. Pull out a little bit of that soil, set it down in there, backfill. Snug that down in there. It should be just fine. Right, we got a few more. Go ahead and bust this up into 3 or 4. Yeah, once I'll just break that one apart. Break this one off. Look at that. Okay, now we're going to have 4. Do the larger ones. Quite large. There again, we're going to remove most of the soil. Some down in the bottom. I'm not being very gentle with the horseradish because I've come to the conclusion pretty much it's very, very tough. Horseradish is a very tough plant. If you remember when we got these, when we first got these, there were blocks with almost no roots on them, covered in mold, and they grew just fine. And there you have it, 8 horseradish plants straight out of the crisper. When I was a kid, I wondered why Grandma always kept all the coffee can lids and whatnot. When you go to water these, you're going to want a saucer underneath them. And there you go, December 31st. How do you get ready for a massive harvest? You start today. Sweet potatoes are one of the last things we put in the ground. And until we get to that point, we're going to continue to take slips off as they root, put them in containers, and we're going to be ready. I'd like to pull out some more giant sweet potatoes. So there you have it, potting sweet potato slips and horseradish 101. On this New Year's Eve, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant. Let's go plant garden.